KFWB News Talk 980. This is Dr. Chambers on call here every Saturday morning, keeping you healthy without that copay. 888-539-2980 is the number to call. That's 888-539-2980. A judge is interfering in a medical case again. A judge is giving pontifications on a brain-dead patient. And as much as I hate judges interfering in these cases, guess what? I think in this particular case, this particular patient, this particular dead person, he's 100% right. The judge is Judge R.H. Wallace. He's interfering in a case, MAH00516 versus John Peter Smith Hospital in Fort Worth, Texas. The woman all agree, both the hospital and the family, that she is brain dead. So under American law, and that includes Texas, she is dead. She is legally dead. He's given them by 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday, this Monday, to take her off the machines, to take her off the extra things they're using to keep her corpse going. He gave them this time so they could appeal. And the reason he did this, the reason he made his decision is this, and I'm quoting. He states that they were misapplying a state law that prohibits the removal of life-sustaining treatment from a pregnant woman. That's the catch. That's the tragedy in this case. That's what makes it so complex. She was pregnant at the time that she was declared brain dead. Before I get into Marlisa's story and bring you up to speed on that, let me just talk a little bit about what it means when a woman is pregnant and you're a doctor treating somebody like that. The premise is very simple when I approach a pregnant woman. A healthy mom means that you have a healthy baby. Very simple. Sick mom, sick baby. Years ago, I was an ICU chief resident in Alberta, Canada, and I was having a tough time on a patient that was very sick, who happened to be pregnant. Now, normally in those circumstances, you do ABC. You just go, pum, pum, pum. You're correcting all the things that have gone wrong. You're trying to save the woman's life. So I'm struggling, and I'm sitting there, and it's late at night, and I'm writing up notes, and I'm thinking, I must have had a worried look on my face. As it happened, her obstetrician wandered by to check on her. And he asked me what was going on, and I explained, and he said, "Son, you look worried." And I said, "Well, you know, usually when I do this, I'm worried about that because it might have a side effect on the fetus." And he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Son, if the mom dies, the baby dies. Do what you need to save the mom." And I always took that lesson to heart because then I just did what we had to do. And we had, fortunately, a very good outcome on that. Now, a pregnant woman has lots of responsibilities. And guys like me, we're not shy about telling pregnant women that they have responsibilities. They have to eat properly, eat nutritionally. No junk food. They have to take fruits, veggies every day. Whether they're nauseated or not, whether they're throwing up or not, they have to eat. Because if they don't eat, if none of us eat, we form a thing called ketones to get our energy, to keep going. Ketones are bad for the baby. So even when a woman is pregnant and she has a thing called hyperemesis gravidarum, which means she's puking and it's awful, she feels terrible, she has to eat. Because the baby needs fuel. The baby needs something to make it bigger, make it stronger, to make it grow, so it can make all the organs, can do all that stuff that you're familiar with. We also, of course, encourage pregnant women not to do alcohol, of course not to do illegal drugs, and it's one of the few places that I can categorically state that if you take vitamins, you'll benefit. Your baby will benefit. There's no question about that. So we like pregnant women to even start, when they're thinking about getting pregnant, to take these vitamins. And definitely once they're declared pregnant, once we have a positive test, they should be on vitamins. So what is brain dead? And is it, when you're brain dead, are you really dead? And the answer is yes. Legally, medically, morally, in every way in the United States, if you're declared brain dead, you are dead. And you're not coming back. It's over. Now, brain dead is different than a vegetative state, which is different than a coma. In a vegetative state, you've got a lot of brain damage, and the person appears to be awake, but they don't interact with you. They don't interact with their environment. They're there, the lights are on, but there's nobody at home, so to speak. In a coma, the person is neither awake or aware. In both of those cases, there's blood supply going to the brain. Not in brain dead, no blood supply, they're dead. Now, what happens to Marlise? Marlise Munoz is age 33. She was 14 weeks pregnant. She got up in the middle of the night to make a bottle for her other son, Mateo. Her husband was in bed, Eric. She went to make the bottle to feed the baby. It took a long time to get back. He eventually got up out of bed and he walked into the kitchen. And what did he find? His pregnant wife collapsed on the ground, not breathing. Eric is a paramedic. His wife, for that matter, is a paramedic. He did what all paramedics would do, what all good paramedics would do. He immediately started life support. He immediately started compressions after calling 911. They weren't sure how long she was down for. They estimated at least an hour, maybe longer. I guarantee you, when you're down like that for an hour, you're not breathing. There is no blood supply. There's no oxygen. There's nothing going to your brain. And she was declared brain dead shortly after that. Now, this would have been an open and shut case because Marlise had made it clear to her husband, Eric, because they'd seen a lot of people dying, they'd seen the consequences, that in these circumstances she would not want to be on life support. She would want the plug pulled, so to speak. And all the reading I did in this case, she had made her views known, but as far as I'm aware, she never had a living will. Ever. And that's something that you need to think about. That's one of the things I want you to take from this story, is that no matter what age you are, whether you're 30, 40, 60, whatever it is, you should have a living will. So it's documented in black and white, what your views, what your needs are, what you want us to do to you in those circumstances. That's really vital. Absolutely vital. There's no question in my mind whatsoever, none, that if she had severe, profound brain damage, such that there was no blood supply going to her brain, there's no way in the world that the fetus wasn't affected. Wasn't going to happen. Can't happen. Because your body is designed to protect your brain. It's really that simple. And your blood pressure will always perfuse your brain. The oxygen will preferentially go there. And it's only in dire, catastrophic circumstances that that doesn't happen. And it didn't happen here. So what happened then? The hospital, in its infinite wisdom, decided to use the state Texas law and keep her going. Against the family's wishes, against the husband's wishes, against the parents' wishes, against Marlise's own wishes. And of course, this always gets complicated because people talk about abortion and not abortion. But we're talking here about a dead woman. It's really that simple. And when I come back, I want to talk a little bit about when you're pregnant, what does that mean? What does it mean when a woman is pregnant? Is she just an incubator? Of course she's not. Of course she's not. She's not an incubator. It's dumb. It's stupid. And I'll explain why when I come back. But if you want to call in about anything that's concerning your health that you're worried about, not necessarily what I'm talking about, 888-539-2816.